about resolutions, what they are, whether it's become something like a cliche or a deja vu where every year we have conversation about a resolution. But for me, the reason I wanted to have this conversation is that I mean, whether it's become a cliche or a deja vu, it becomes something that is very, very, topical, especially at this time of the year. And many people believe that how you started the year determines how far your year will go, right? So I just want to understand, when you say resolutions, what are they? If I'm making resolutions, must I have just an idea of fate, or I must have maybe an understanding of my immediate surrounding, what it should be? So I'll just leave you to tell us what it is, how we can achieve it. Then as and when I have some questions, and also our listeners send them in on 055-111-1995 on our WhatsApp console. Please send them. You have a question for Pastor George Fad Arimbela. As you listen to him, I ask him that question, then you have that conversation. So, Pastor George, I think that the way is your forward. As some people will say, the floor is yours. So kindly tell us, what are resolutions? How can we achieve them? How do you even say something is a resolution?
Great. Thank you so much, Eugene. And once again, Happy New Year to you and to your listeners. New Year resolutions is something that many of us will be thinking about, especially at this time of the year when the new year just started. And I'm sure that even at this point, some people are even beginning to get tired already
Pastor
of
George,
making a resolution.
Yeah, Pastor George, let me just come in and say that we are live on Facebook. We are streaming on Facebook, so please, if you are home and you want to see just fine gentlemen speaking, you want to measure the voice with the face, or you also want to come in close proximity with anointing, and the gentleman we are speaking to, and also want to see my New Year face and my New Year kaftan, please join us on Facebook. We are streaming live on Love in the Morning on Facebook. You can also, it's also cross-post on our former page, the LUV 99.5 FM. We're also streaming on our Facebook, Joe, all right? You're on Facebook, so and also on YouTube. So please, you can join us on these platforms as we have the conversation. So, Pastor George, please continue. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, so like I was saying, I'm sure that by now a lot of people are tired of making resolutions because 2018 has passed, 2019 has passed. You decided that you wanted to do something within the year ended, and you were not able to do them. So let me clarify what, first of all, a resolution is. A resolution means that you are making a firm decision either to do something or not to do something. And that is a very important thing to understand, because a decision is not the same as a reaction. What many of us do at the beginning of the year is not technically a resolution. What we do are New Year reactions. So we try to do something about what made us feel bad in the previous year. So, for example, I'm sure that someone wants to go to the gym throughout the year. They want to work on their weight or on their body. They don't like how it makes them feel. Someone wants to work on their finances. They don't like the fact that 2023 ended without much savings. Someone work on an addiction. They are trying to break an addiction, and maybe they didn't, last year they decided that they are never going to do it again. They ended up doing it several times. The challenge is that we are reacting. We are not resolving, which is what resolution comes from. It comes from resolving, deciding to do something or to not do something. Now, you make a resolution concerning a challenge, not how you feel. And I want to clarify that right from the very beginning to everyone, because how you feel, it changes throughout the year. Right now, the year just started. You are feeling the adrenaline from 31st night, from the crossover. You are feeling the excitement about entering a new year. You are feeling, maybe I can do this thing. That is not the same as you have identified a problem. That is why when you make your resolution concerning how you feel at this time, somewhere down the line, when the feeling changes, the resolution ends. Because what you have not identified is the problem. Now, you need to make a resolution concerning a problem or a challenge. A problem is not necessarily what makes you feel bad. A problem is what is preventing you from obtaining your desired results. A problem or a challenge to repeat that again, it's what is standing in your way that doesn't help you to get what you want to get. So how you feel is not where you should be starting from, because when you start from how you feel, it will change. The feelings will change. And when the feelings change, the resolutions come to an end or they change. So resolutions fail. A lot of people's resolutions fail because they are often based on how we feel at a point in time. And because the new year just started, many of us are feeling excited. We are feeling capable. Maybe you are even feeling bad. So you want to make a new year resolution based on that. Like I said earlier, your resolution should be based on a problem. That means that, and in so speaking, I want to just articulate 3 ways by which you can do or you can make a good resolution. Number 1, you need to define the problem properly. We've already established that a resolution should not be based on how you feel. That will change. Your feelings are dynamic. We are human beings. Throughout the year, we'll feel so many things. We'll feel excited. We'll feel good. We'll feel bad. We'll feel strong. We'll feel weak. What you want to do in making your resolution is to, first of all, define what your problem is. And I need to add this because as a society, culturally, we don't like to define a problem. We don't like to talk about a problem for too long. It makes us feel bad. We feel it is unnecessary. But without understanding your problem, you cannot make a resolution. When you go into the medical field or the research field, millions of dollars and billions of dollars are spent in understanding the problem before we move on to developing a cure. We needed to know that the parasite Plasmodium causes malaria before we're able to define what can kill the malaria. So you need to define your problem detailedly before you even begin to make a resolution. When you jump to the resolution, what you do is that you will be jumping to actions that give you temporary relief but don't resolve the problem. I'll give you an example. Maybe you are trying to break an addiction. You drink too much, or you're stuck in pornography, or you're stuck in some other, difficulty, and you're trying to come out of it. Now, as it appears immediately, you say, this is the addiction. I need to stop it. In 2024, oh Lord, help me, I'm going to stop this addiction. The challenge here is that why are you into that particular addiction? Why are you drinking too much? Why are you stuck in that pornography or whatever it is that you're stuck in? The reason might be, and I'm just giving a case study here, the reason might be you are not feeling motivated about some other ventures in life. There is not anything that you are applying yourself to that gives you the same level of excitement that addiction is giving you. So the cause of your issue is not the smoking you cannot stop or the drinking you cannot stop. That is the consequence. The cause, the underlying cause, is that you are not feeling motivated enough about life. And in order to feel something, in order to feel the excitement, you decide to resort to that addiction. So I'm talking about defining your problem well. When you understand the cause of your problem, then you can make a resolution. But when you don't understand your problem, you will keep fixing or you keep making what we call temporary patches. So, I don't feel good at it. Let me solve this. I don't feel like, let me solve this, right? Another example, maybe you are a bit, you want to get to the gym, you want to work on your body. For some reason, when you start the gym, you are not able to control your dieting or your scheduling for it. Again, why are you not able to be consistent with the gym, or why are you not able to be consistent with your diet? Could it be that the new diet you have developed is not tasty for you? So even though you are trying to go on a diet, you are not enjoying your new diet. Therefore, how can I develop a new diet that I can enjoy? Again, I notice that in this part of our society, we don't like to explore the problem. We are like, let's not talk about the problem, too much. Let's dive into the solution. But we've seen that many resolutions don't work because we've not understood the problem. And when you don't understand the problem, you make misguided efforts, you make pointless investments, you waste your time. In order to understand the problem that requires the resolution, Be honest. If you are trying to increase your finances this year, if you are trying to make more money this year, be honest. What was wrong with how you managed money last year? It's easy to say inflation. I agree with you. It's easy to say Ghana is hard. I agree with you. But on your end, what was your problem that contributed to your financial challenges? I did not budget my money. I took on too much debt. I spent beyond my means. I was not able to control my appetite. I was trying to impress my friends. I have taken on too much responsibilities at my level. Be honest. Defining your problem requires honesty. It requires responsibility. You need to own what you did that created the environment for that problem to continue. You are not enjoying your relationship. Why? What was on your end that allowed that relationship to deteriorate to that level? The second point I want to add concerning how to make your resolution, how to be consistent with your resolution, create a system of accountability. Many of us look on social media, we watch IB posts, we read Facebook posts, and you feel that there is a certain level of seriousness everybody else has, which you don't have. So I speak to, because as a pastor, and even as in a professional world, I get to speak to a lot of people. I ask them, oh, how is life going? They say, I know that if I was more serious, I could have done this. I know that if I was more serious, I could have gotten more money. Oh, I know that if I was more serious, I could have been more, educated, or I could have learned more. No, you are placing too much credit on the human system. The natural human needs a system of accountability. There is a reason why we have a constitution in Ghana. There is a reason why countries, no matter how peaceful they are, no matter how much they sing their national anthem, have a system of accountability. So on a personal level, you need a system of accountability. I'm resolving that this year I'm going to read more. I'm going to study more. I'm going to work harder. But I'm going to add on top of it a system of accountability. Let me give you an example of that system. For example, set time to the actions and steps you want to take. Time is one of the highest form of accountability. You see, Eugene, if I tell you that next week I'm going to start the gym, when I say next week, I've not added any timeline to it. Because of that, if I don't go next week Monday, if I don't go next week Tuesday, if I don't go next week Wednesday,
it's still next week.
Never hold for myself accountable. I keep saying that next week, because next week is vague, and we do it to ourselves all the time. We keep our actions vague in our minds so that we don't feel responsible when we don't do them. But if I say, Eugene, next week Monday, 8 a.m., I'm going to go to the gym. If at 8 a.m. you text me, George, are you at the gym? And I'm not at the gym, I know that I failed this step. So one of the ways to be accountable is to set time. You are not punishing yourself by setting the time. You are making yourself accountable. Another way to set a system of accountability is to, in your life, you can find a designated person to help guide your action. There is a certain falsehood that many of us have, that when you're an adult, you don't need anybody to help guide you. It's not true. We are all at different stages of motivation in life. There are times in your life, and there's a stage that you're at, you need somebody to hold you accountable. For some people, it's even their partner. For someone, it's their mentor at work. For someone, it's their boss. Why are many people effective in their workplace, even if they are tired, even if they are lazy? Because they have a boss. No matter how they feel that morning, they have a boss to report to. So they will wake up at 5 a.m. Whether they feel like going to work or they don't feel like going to work, they will wake up at 5 a.m., they will go to the office, because there is a designated person to hold you accountable. And your personal resolutions sometimes require a designated person. That is why in most addiction organizations that help you with addiction, they give you what we call a sponsor. Now, the sponsor is there not because you're not an adult, but the sponsor is there to help you to be accountable. Somebody that you can talk to, somebody that you can receive guidance from, and can help you monitor your progress. The last point I want to add in terms of how to make a resolution is do not be afraid to re-strategize or to do something different. The reason why when I started my presentation, I said that your resolution should be based on a problem, not how you feel, is because in defining a solution to a problem, okay, think solution in your mind. Remember that you're thinking about solution. So if you are solution driven, then as far as the problem exists, you are allowed to do something different about it. Most of the time, we try something once, and when that one thing does not work, we say to ourselves, it was not meant to be. Oh, I'm sure it's not the will of God. Oh, I'm sure I'm not disciplined enough. No, you're a human being. We have human problems. The problems don't always have one solution. So you want to be more financially disciplined this year. You have tried savings. Maybe it's not working. Try investments. You've tried investments. Try financial literacy. Some of us don't even know the difference between your gross revenue, your profits, your profit margins, and so on and so forth, your turnovers. Try financial literacy. You are trying to break an addiction. You've tried prayer. We thank God. Try discipline. Try exercise. Try many things. Don't try one thing. It's rarely in this world that one thing is going to solve the whole problem. So a resolution is not based on a feeling. Because the resolution is based on a problem, you want to try different approaches that resolve the problem. Okay? So don't be afraid to redo. Don't think you're a failure, or don't think that you need to cancel the plan because you tried this one thing. So maybe you want to increase your revenue this year. You started a side hustle. The side hustle did not work. No. Try another side hustle. Try another thing. Try applying for another job. Try it again and again. Do not be afraid to redo. Don't think that there is some responsibility for you to be perfect or for you to, get everything right. Finally, I want to also add this. So many of us feel that, well, I've done this in 2019. I wrote all my plans. I wrote all my dreams. I didn't do them. Pastor, why are you saying that 2024 we should do it again? I know I'll not do it again. Here is the thing. Resolutions are based on a problem. That means that sometimes that problem will take more than 1 year. The reason why we make resolutions based on the new year is because it puts things into perspective for you. It does not mean that if you have to continue into 2025 solving that problem, it is wrong. Many challenges have some middle term or some mid-term and some long-term decisions to make. For example, you want to get married this year, or you are trying to get ready for marriage, so you are trying to get accommodation to prepare you for that marriage. Now, as a long-term strategy, you want to buy or build your own house. That is all well and good. But because you want to get married, you may need to rent for the short term. Now, the challenge is that you are trying to get accommodation. To do that, you are trying different solutions. The current solution might be to rent. It's not a bad thing. Ultimately, you are trying to solve the problem of accommodation. So rent, while you also keep a focus on trying to build or buy a house, whichever it is that you want to do. Most of the time, people, when the year is ending, we say that, I know that this year I wanted to do A, B, C, D. I wasn't able to do them. It's over for me. No. Once your problem is still existing, your resolution should not be over. The definition of a resolution is to make a firm decision. You are making a firm decision to do or not to do something. So once the problem is still existent, you want to continue applying the solution. If you have to apply it into 2025, it's not the end of the world. Your resolutions can delay. Things take time. Be patient with yourself. There is so much emphasis in today's world of being fast, of being result-oriented, which is all well and good, but be patient. it takes time. It takes time to break an addiction. In fact, in my line of work, especially when I'm dealing with people in a continuous problem like alcoholic addiction or so on and so forth, one of the things I advise people to do, be patient. We are so much in a hurry to clock the big goals that we don't celebrate the short goals. Let me give you an example. You are trying to be more financially disciplined this year. You saved 1,000 cedis the whole month of January. Celebrate that 1,000 cedis. You've saved it. Next month, save another 1,000 cedis, or save whatever amount that you can save. Celebrate the short wins or the quick victories. Do not poison your effort by saying that, 1,000 cedis, it is nothing. What is 1,000 cedis? And sometimes you hear friends, sometimes I see friends make that comment towards each other. Somebody says, I want to be more financially literate, or I want to be more open-minded this year. I'm going to read some books. So somebody says, it's been January to June now. I've managed to finish one book. Then you hear their friends say, so this 6 months, only one book. I mean, some of us, we are doing 3 or 4 books. No. Go at your own pace. You read one book. It's one more book than you haven't read. Celebrate the short victories. Recently, I was talking with a group of people who were working on their business. And I was saying that you started a side business. Maybe you have a normal 9-to-5 job. You started a side business. When you started the business, it's been 1 month. You've gotten only 3 customers. Now, you are saying that, only 3 customers. What am I supposed to do with that? Remember that there was a time in your life you had no business and no customers. The fact that you have 3 customers means that you have 3 more customers than you used to have. Celebrate the 3 customers. And I know that, again, part of this challenge is cultural. We find the little things insignificant, but celebrate them. Celebrate your 3 customers. Celebrate it when it becomes 5 customers. Celebrate it when it becomes 10 customers. Be proud of the short victories. If you are just waiting to get the one big thing that would make you happy, you will not get it. So make your resolutions, but always keep in mind that throughout the resolutions, you are going to have some quick victories, some early victories. Celebrate them, and then use the momentum, use the joy of that previous victory to keep working on the resolution, to keep going further. I think that when you keep this in mind, your 2024 is going to be more exciting than you ever thought.
Wow, it's been, I don't know, but I personally, listening to you, I've thoroughly enjoyed the presentation and the nuggets that you've shared. So for someone who just joined us, this Love FM, Love 99.5 FM, we are talking to Pastor George Fat Arembela, who is a project management consultant and also a pastor at Citygate Chapel Road Sanctuary. I think your church is in Accra, right?
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
Yes, in Accra. And we are talking about resolutions, how you and I can achieve our resolutions. And he's trying to help us. And it's just not just about the point of view of religion or faith or he being a pastor alone. He's also a professional, worked in several countries in East Africa, in Kenya, in the West African coast, Ghana, Gambia, Sierra Leone. So he also understands the professional side of things. And he's saying that for you to make a realistic resolution, these are my personal notes. So I'm just sharing. I'm sharing with you if you just joined, and I'll come with my questions. He said that for you to make a concrete resolution and how to achieve them in a new year, you need to first define the problem. And he's saying that, and when I was listening to him, I could get his background in project management, because, in project management, you need to understand the problem. And he's saying that, and even when you look at Ghana, today, Kwajo was talking about doing the online videos who join us from 6, that our development is not planned. It's knee-jerk. It's based on someone's feeling. There'll be election. Let's do this. So we don't really have a national plan to develop.
Right.
So we don't understand the problem. So everything we are doing is just that we are just patching. We are not really solving anything, and the development becomes disjointed. So Pastor George is saying that define that problem. Define it. And when you are defining the problem, you must have cognizance of 2 key things. These are my personal, as I said. You must be honest with yourself. What really the problem is? How did you get there? Then you must also take responsibility. It's after you taking responsibility that you open yourself up for that change that you want to see. Then he says that the second bit of it is that you need to create a system of accountability. And he made a very profound statement for me that no matter your age or anything, you need someone who looks at you and says that, Charlie, this thing, you are going off the radar. You are come back to this. Don't do this. Don't do that. Someone to track you. And he also made mention of timelines. Oh, Joe, today I'll take you to this. Next week I'll take you to Lancaster for breakfast. Monday say enquire Tuesday or Tuesday enquire say Wednesday or Wednesday enquire say Thursday or. So I've not been definitive enough, and I've not given proper timelines to the next week lunch at Lancaster. So he's saying that there should be timeline. The timeline shouldn't be vague. I want to stop eating at 6. Not I want to stop night eating. Now did this 7 years. Say, oh, because 8 more. To me, 8 is evening in my notebook. So he's saying that put timelines to it and respect those timelines. Then the third bit of what he said was that do not be afraid to re-strategize. If it's not going by plan, do not be afraid to say that let me tweak it. Let me change this. Let me put this here. Let me realign. Because as he said, some problems may take more than 1 year to achieve. So it means that, and this is where I also bring in my strategic management cloth, where he says that there must be short-term, medium-term, long-term processes you put in place to achieve that goal. So it's not every problem that can be solved in 1 year. So have that. So basically, he's saying that it is not wrong for you to, as we say, roll over or carry forward a resolution that wasn't achieved in 2023 into 2024. But Pastor, I don't know if I'm being a bad student or I didn't hear right.
No, that's excellent. I mean, that is well articulated. Yeah, exactly right.
Yes. So let me come back to, I have some questions, and our listeners, you can join us with your questions on our WhatsApp console. You can send your voice note, but I'd like to read your text too so that I can ask him if you have a question. Maybe you have an addiction. Maybe you want to do something. You want to marry. You want practical, because he is not just a pastor. He's versed in the word of God. He understands faith, religious stuff, but he's also a professional with vast experience, so he can also understand some of these issues. So please, if you have any question you want us to help you with, you can join us on our Facebook, LUV 99.5, or Love in the Morning on Facebook, on YouTube. But you can also send us that WhatsApp message on 055-111-1995. And I'm having a conversation with Pastor George Father Rembella, a project management consultant and a pastor at the City Gate Chapel Royal Sanctuary in Accra. So, Pastor George, my first question is that, does it mean that when we are drafting our resolutions, we must have an appreciation of beyond, because often the resolution is done in a church setting where we are consumed, or let me say we are enveloped by faith, and trying to be all sanctimonious, trying to be in the spirit to say that this year I believe I'll buy a V8. You see, I'll believe I'll buy a V8. But maybe your salary is 2,000 cedis. You don't even own a first car. You get it? But because you are in that church setting and you are enveloped by faith, by that atmosphere, you say that you want to buy a V8 and you list it as a resolution. Based on all that you've said, does it mean that in making a resolution, we must have an appreciation of our external environment beyond the faith environment that you almost come from when making these resolutions?
No, that's exactly right, Eugene. You see, whenever you tell Christians to be realistic or practical with their planning, it comes across as if you are saying don't have faith or don't believe that you cannot get the big things. Now, that is all well and good. You can believe that you will build your house, believe that you will buy a Land Cruiser, but don't be irresponsible with the wisdom or the knowledge that God has given you. You see, Jesus made a statement. There's a beautiful story I love in the Bible. The story goes like this. It says that a servant find out that his master was about to fire him. And the servant said to themselves, he said, I cannot go and beg, and I don't want to do hard labor. So the servant went around telling his master's clients to rewrite their debts, how much they owe their master. And when the master found that out, it's a very strange story. When the master found that out, the master said that this servant has been very, very smart. Now, Jesus said that the children of the light, he said, my son, my children in this world are not as smart as these people. He said, I want my children to be as smart as these servants. Why would Jesus make such a comparison? Because after we pray, when we do the declarations on 31st night, when we are baptized with the oil, when we receive the faith, we don't put it into action. And so whatever we are creating doesn't have meaning for us. It's true that a Land Cruiser is good for your life. But right now, with your salary anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 cedis a month, it's plausible that if you are trying to solve the problem of transportation, you may need to get a smaller car, something with a 1.8 or 1.2 engine, so that you can afford the fuel. While you are working towards the Land Cruiser, you've not stopped that. So I love how you put it. Appreciate your current circumstance. Once you begin to set unnecessarily high goals, you are not making a resolution. You are creating a fantasy. It is not the same as you will not get there. You will get there, but we don't jump there. We get there in steps. There are so many things in life that are full of steps. Even to get your dream car, you may need to go through some steps. You may need to go through taking trotro and then going to an Uber and then getting your own small car and then getting a used car. At some point, you will buy a new car, but you have to appreciate the steps. And I feel that sometimes our faith, I'm a pastor, I will not discredit our faith. I believe in the miracle working power of God. I believe in the breakthrough power of God. But I believe that God does not want us to be irresponsible. That's why Jesus said, who amongst you, if they want to build a house, will not first sit down and count the cost? Now, he doesn't stop there. He said, so that they start their project and do not complete it and end up becoming a mockery to people of the world. So there are many Christians who start a project and do not complete it, and it becomes a mockery. Our project don't even save people's souls. Why? Because you are saying that you serve a big God. You said you serve a mighty God. How come you started this thing and you didn't finish it? Which God do you serve that does not allow you to finish your project? And you will find out that the problem is not God. The problem is we like to create fantasies and we are a bit irresponsible with our planning. If you appreciate your current circumstance, you see that like Jesus said, you count your cost so that what you can do now, you are able to do. And like I said in my earlier submission, it will give you the momentum. You see, when you buy your first used car, it doesn't matter if it was registered in 2009. From that moment on, you are a car owner. You will not go back to not having a car again. You see, so you keep going from there forward. At least you've put yourself in the realm of car owners. But when you say, I want to get a brand new car from the showroom, maybe with the means that you're not able to afford, you never even enter the conversation or the realm of possibility. So I like how you put it. You appreciate your current circumstance, not to diminish your faith, but to take it in steps, so that when you finally achieve it, the glory goes to God, and at the same time, you are able to demonstrate to people that you are exactly how God, what God has called you to be.
I asked that question because, as you said, often when you listen to people who say that, I don't believe in resolutions, the common refrain you get from them is that, I did it maybe in 2018, I couldn't achieve something. 2019, I couldn't achieve something. 2020, I couldn't achieve. So 2021, my resolution, baby. I've given up on resolutions. I'm living my life by the flow of the wind, right?
Yes.
So yes. So how do we get, to that state where, yes, my resolution may not have happened. It may not be a car. Maybe I want to eat well. Maybe I couldn't do that. Maybe I want to break an addiction. I couldn't do that. How can we get to that stage where we know that, yes, I tried, I failed, let me go again? Because, and you put it right, in our cultural setting, we give up easily. The average Ghanaian, when you even compare in business, and you're a project management consultant, traveled, you notice that when you compare us to some West African countries, I've dealt with a lot of people. The average Nigerian, they rise. But the average Ghanaian will rise, but a much slower pace. We are not in tune, or we are not built like that. We give up easily, we discourage ourselves easily. How do we overcome that barrier of looking down on ourselves, and when we fall or we are not able to achieve a certain particular resolution, we're able to say that we will dust ourselves and go again? How do we achieve? How do we have that mental fortitude to do that?
Thank you for that question, Eugene. It's a question that I get a lot. You see, and I like the honest comparison you make with our brothers and sisters from Nigeria. One day I was talking with a barber who happened to be a Nigerian, and I was asking him that, why are his people so driven, so, determined, so aggressive? And then he made a simple statement. He said, it's because of population. I said,
they're almost 200 million. That is about 7 times Ghana.
Exactly. He said it's because of population. He said when he's a barber in Nigeria, there are about 10 barbers on the street. Let's say, for example, on the street. If a client walks into barber number 1 and he says, the barber says, I'm going to charge you 10 cedis for your haircut, and the guy says, I have only 7 cedis. He said in Nigeria, the barber number 1 knows that if I don't take it, he will go to barber number 2. So I'm going to take the 7 cedis like that, because there are 9 other barbers waiting to collect the 7 cedis. What is happening is that barber is thinking about a problem he's trying to solve, not the feeling. So he said that he's surprised when he comes to Ghana, because you see that, somebody can turn down a business or can turn down an opportunity because they will say that it's not what makes them feel good. One of the ways we can maintain an internal sense of motivation is to make the resolutions based on a personal challenge. You see, the reason why we sort of give up very easily on some of the resolutions we have is because they were never even based on something we are feeling or something we are going through or something that is in front of us. It was based on what other people. So you actually alluded to that earlier when you said that there's a lot of envy driving resolutions.
So, Pastor Joe, let me come in here. So, for example, we know how some churches are on these days. So maybe you are not working, you've completed, let's bring it home. You completed school, you are doing your national service, and your resolution is that you complete a national service just in 2023. Resolution at 2025, I get married. You're not yet secured a job, you get a car. Is that based on your spiritual understanding? Because you're a pastor, you understand that realm, and also you're a professional, you understand the physicals too, you have work under your belt. Is that resolution a sensible one? Let me put it that way. Is it something that is achievable? You've completed national service. As you met, society expects you to get married, settle down. Yes, you have a girlfriend, so you have the girl. You are not yet securing a job, but there's a possibility you may even be retained at where you are working. Let's have that scenario. Then your resolution, you go to 31st. Your resolution is that I'll get married to the girl, I'll get my accommodation, I'll have a small car. Is that a sensible, achievable resolution in that context?
That's a very good question. So the defining answer to that is that how prepared are you for that resolution? There's a difference between making a fantasy and then making a resolution. If you made no preparation towards it, the only thing you are doing is that you are setting yourself up for disappointment. That's the reality. Because you never prepared for it. Maybe if just at the point of finishing school or finishing national service, you are now deciding that, and look at the national service allowance. It's nothing much to write home about. If that is your only means of income, are you going to save? Are you going to save enough to do all that you are saying? What is the level of preparation you made for that goal? So the challenge, the problem is not that you are saying the wrong thing. You want to get married, it's amazing. You want to buy a car, it's amazing. It's 1 year, a feasible timeline for you to actually prepare and have all this. And I know that when I start to say this thing, somebody will say, but by faith, by the grace of God, don't say you cannot do it. I'm saying that by the grace of God, say you can do it, but allow the grace to work in you through wisdom. Because if you don't prepare towards it properly, the only person going to get a disappointment is yourself. And if you happen to have a girlfriend, then that person that is that girlfriend you're going to also involve in a disappointment. Let me add this because I was in a similar situation not too long ago. When my wife and I, at the time when we were dating, just when we were about to start dating, or I think just when we started dating, I made it clear to her. I told her that I don't want to be doing this dating thing for years and we don't know how it is going. My decision is that I want us to get married as soon as possible. And by the grace of God, she agreed. So we started working on the marriage. At the time, I was not even properly working. I was just doing some few contracts here and there, just some side gigs, some, those normal 500 CDs, 600 CDs, you do some for some money. And then I think she was also doing her service at the time. But at least we had the goal now in mind. Now we knew that based on what we had at the time, we can't do a certain type of wedding. We can't have, lights and a very wild kind of wedding. So we prepared a version of wedding that with our income, we could completely pay for by ourselves. We decided that if anybody brings in any money later on, we'll just take it as extra income. But we budgeted the wedding according to the amount of money we had, she and I, not anybody else's money. Just she and I, our money can pay for from A to the end. And by the grace of God, when we finished our wedding, we did not owe anyone. So the goal is not impossible, but how prepared. Give yourself some real, and when I say preparation, not make an excuse. You hear people saying, "Oh, I'm preparing," but they are not actually preparing. They are giving themselves an excuse. If you are actually preparing, you'll be making real steps. So my wife and I started taking real steps. When we got a little money, we bought the cloth and some clothes. We put it aside. In Ghana, we have to buy some engagement clothes and all those things. Yeah. So we bought it. We put it aside. We kept buying, and at that time, I was still living with my dad when we were even buying some of the items. We buy a little, we put it down. We buy a little, we put it down. I get it. That is actual preparation, not a certain feeling of we are preparing when you are just wasting your effort. So how prepared are you to make those goals realistic? If you are not that prepared, then be honest and give yourself a real time of preparation and actually take the steps involved in the preparation.
I get it. I think that how I will maybe phrase it will be your resolution must also have cognizance of your capacity and your ability to as we said, have that fortitude to see through what you want to do. If you don't have that substance or that capacity, you cannot be able to achieve that maybe highfalutin resolution that you set for yourself. But some comments are coming in. The first one is from Abdul Mumen. And he has a question, 2 questions actually. He says that he's listening to us from the Swami Post Office. And he said, I'm really enjoying the program inside Swami Post Office. So, Charlie, Abdul Women, shout out to you and everybody at the Swami Post Office. He says that my first question is it necessary to rewrite an unachieved goal for the previous month for the next month, or keep it and put it in more effort towards achieving it? So let me take the first question again. Pastor Joseph, please note it. He said that is it necessary to rewrite an unachieved goal for the previous month, for the next month, or keep it and put in more effort towards achieving it? So he's saying that I couldn't achieve something the previous month, say in December. Can I rewrite it in January, or I should just hold on and put in more effort to achieve it? Then the second question is that is it okay to set a bigger goal than your available resources can produce? So, for example, I think that he's talking about the car situation. So, for example, maybe you can build a 3-bedroom. Is it must you set a goal of, say, a 5-bedroom? Or maybe you can buy a Vit, a Yaris. Must you set a goal of buying a 4x4? That's the second question. That's how I understand it. Please, how will you answer him? He's Abdul Mumen.
Great. Thank you so much for your question, Abdul. I love your questions. They are just so realistic to what we are going through in today's world. So the first question was that, is it necessary to rewrite an unachieved goal? The response I would give to that is that figure out why was that goal unachieved. You see, when I was talking about defining a resolution, I mentioned defining the problem. Why was the goal unachieved? It's a better solution than just whether you want to rewrite. Because even if you rewrite it, the factors that caused you to not achieve the goal may still be present. there is one thing I teach my church members to do. I tell my church members every month, download your bank statement. If you have your bank account, download your bank statement, download your mobile money statements, and all of these things you can do. They are mostly for free. You can download your bank statements, download your mobile money statements, and assess where your money is going. You will think you are spending your money on this thing, but actually the other thing is taking your money. And I remember one of my church members came to me one day and he said that when he downloaded his bank, he was shocked as to how much money has passed through his account. He couldn't believe his eyes. He realized that he could have actually even bought a house for that amount of money. You see, many people think that, Ghana is hard, things are expensive, but you will find out that the thing actually, because you've not assessed, you see, so you have an unachieved goal, no problem. Why? The question why, that is why defining the problem is very important. Why was the goal unachieved? You wanted to go to the gym the entire month. You weren't able to go. Why? Maybe you wanted to do 2 hours in the gym. You are a working person. You're a professional. You have to wake up at 5 a.m. You close work at 7 p.m. 2 hours of working out a day was not realistic enough. Maybe you may need to do 30 minutes or maybe even 15 minutes. So that brings me to my second question. Should you be writing bigger goals than your available resources?
Yes.
If you want your resolutions to be effective, look at the resources you have. When the resources you have now, any good financial advisor will tell you that don't plan with money you don't have yet. You plan with money that you have, okay? Because if you plan
Pastor
money
George,
you don't have, it's going to be a problem if the money doesn't come.
So, Pastor George, if I get you, my salary is 2,000 cedis. My salary is 3,000 cedis. If I'm making a resolution, I shouldn't say that because Uncle Joe and Auntie Fosi has promised me a side job where I'll get 1,000 cedis. I shouldn't add that 1,000 cedis in the equation when I'm making the resolution. That is excluded.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Because for some reason, your uncle or your auntie may find themselves in difficulty. They may not be able to honor their promise, which means that the promises that you have also made for yourself based on that projected 1,000 cedis will also not come to pass. So you make plans based on what you have. And you see, so and you gave that example earlier, like you want to buy a Matisse instead of a Land Cruiser. You see, that is your available resource. And when you're able to do the Matisse or whatever car that you want to get, a Yaris, at that level, it will give you the needed faith, the needed excitement to believe that then your Land Cruiser is possible. Let me add this quickly. When you go to a lot of building sites in Ghana, especially at new site areas, I think there are a lot of them in Accra, a lot of them in Kumasi, you see a lot of uncompleted buildings. You realize that when you go to most people and you talk to them, you realize that they started the building, projecting the building with the level of income they had then. So, you see down 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, kakrebi. When they get a promotion in their office, they say, Mame for 1-story and count big man there, 2-story building.
Me 8-bedroom.
You see that, right? They add another story to the building. So when you go to a lot of building sites, you see a lot of uncompleted buildings by people who changed the goal based on the new money they had gotten. That's why a lot of people moving into their houses far later in life, they used resources they did not have yet, or they changed the goal. You see, if you had focused on that 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, you would have finished it. You would have now been able to move into it. Then from there, you can decide you want to add something new or something higher. So you make plans based on resources you have. When you change it, you are costing your own self. You are setting yourself up for disappointment.
Wow, I think that when you made mention of the building, it reminded me of some of the advice we gave our listeners and also ourselves in the studio when some experts joined us for the Habitat Fair conversation, where they are saying that your first house necessarily shouldn't be your dream house. So if it's a 3-bedroom, fine. Then later you can plan for a more retirement home of a sort. You can even do your beachfront from there. But as somebody starting career, just where you put your head is the most important thing. I think that is a very good advice that you are giving. But I'll crave you, and I know I told you that 30 minutes, but the messages and the feedback my producer is giving me. Let me just take this message. So please, you can also call us. So Joe, let's pick let's pick some calls. So you can call us on 03220 835 96 03220 835 97 03220 03. Joe, the number 03220 835 98 03220 835 96. So 835 96 835 97 835 98. So Pastor Joe, please hold on for me. But there's a question for you before we pick the calls. It says that good morning, happy new year to you and the pastor, your speaker. My question is, you have about 10 unachieved goals. You are unable to complete or work out for 3 of these 10. What do I do with the rest? Probably I might have other new ones too. This is from Kofi Richmond from Apiodu Kokobin. So he says that he had about 3 goals, right? He achieved 3. 7 are unachieved. Then once he's not able to achieve that, the other new ones. So please, before you answer that, kindly note that for me. Let me pick the calls. Then you can add that. So you can do 3 calls and you answer. So let me pick Christophe. Christophe, good morning.
Yes, good morning, the research man. I hope you are fine.
Yes, I'm fine. Happy New Year too.
Yes, same to you too, my brother.
So
you said you can wish some people a Happy New Year, right?
Yes, so briefly, can I wish some 2-3 people Happy New Year?
Nana Semensia of SGMO, I want to wish him Happy New Year. And then Mr. Osakoto Michael of PZ, I want to wish him Happy New Year. And then my friend and my brother, Pastor Wilson, Eric Amedo, he's a good brother. Thank you. And then David Akwete, wherever he is.
So, yes.
This is a whole lecture. Share. Also, we thank you so much. This is a whole lecture. And I believe that we those who are listening, if we can imbibe this and assimilate it, I'm telling you this year will be a good year. My point that I have really it has worked in my life is that I don't plan with a money that is not yet in my pocket. That is just wishes. You know, if it doesn't come, it means that your plans will be thrown out of gear. And so I believe that whatever you want to do, you must have a purpose for it. You should know that this thing is needful. You know, in a country we have needs, whatever you have wants. And so you make sure you prioritize yourself. You know, the scale of preference where you do things that are important first. I believe that this thing, because there are people who are throwing money away. They don't plan. They live like one day something big will happen to them, and that will change their fortunes, that will change their lives, and all that. So we don't really plan. So I want to commend you that it's a good thing. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Christophe. We'll be looking at the financials later. In January.
My name is Dr. Dadiakon.
Yes, Doc. Happy New Year. Please, you are welcome.
Hello.
Yes, Doc. You are on. Happy New Year.
Okay. Bravo. Thank you for all your good program. I'm somehow financial consultant.
Okay.
But the problem in Ghana is money handling.
Money handling.
Money handling.
Okay.
Financial statement.
Okay.
That is our dilemma. So your program, you should increase it. I've been in television and radio, and I said that everybody in Ghana needs a financial consultant. Everybody. I'm a doctor. Hello?
Yes, please, you are on.
I am a doctor and I'm a banker too. And the problem in Ghana is money handling. So I wish in Europe and the Western world, every person have a lawyer and a doctor. But to me in Ghana, everybody needs a financial consultant and a doctor.
Okay.
Because I'm a banker. I have opened bank in West Africa before. Even my clients, I open jobs for them. I create jobs for them. I give them capital. So the problem about if I'm giving you a data from my books I can tell you that more than 95% of Ghanaians have a money handling problem. Thank you.
So, Doc, what we do is that my producer, Joe, has taken your number. We reach out for more conversations. You know, in January on Love FM, we do the finance and business clinic where we speak to people about finances, how business can stabilize and all that. So we will call you later and you have that conversation. So, Joe, is that all? Okay. Okay. So, Pastor Joe, I think that you can go ahead with your answer. So, Christophe was talking about money. And also how we can plan it. And basically, he was saying he was just rehashing what you said, that he doesn't plan if money not in his pocket. Then I think that you can also answer that of Kofi Richmond from Appeal Kokobin in Kumasi. And he also saying that he's enjoying the program, but his problem is that, or his question is that he has 10 unachieved goals. He said 10, they are unachieved, but he achieved 3 of them. So meaning that 7 are rather the ones that are not achieved. And he's saying that what do I do with the rest? Probably I might have new ones. So he's asking, what do 7 I went to me achieve? What can he do? And should he add on? That's his dilemma. How does he come out of that quagmire?
Excellent. Thank you so much for that question. An analogy I like to use, or I like to give people that will help with this particular issue, is that treat yourself like a company or treat yourself like a business. What do companies do? They have monthly reviews. They have quarterly reviews. They have semi-annual reviews. They have annual reviews. What are they reviewing? They are reviewing our performance this month. What do we need to do? What do we need to stop doing? What do we need to start doing? So you have 10 goals or 10 resolutions. Last month you were able to do 3. It's time for a review. Now the 7 that you have, are they still relevant? Sometimes we don't want to believe that the thing that you are working on is no longer important. For example, maybe you are into a form of business that before internet was very relevant. It was very popular. Because of internet, that business has changed. That model has changed. If you don't also change your approach, you are the one who will be missing out, because the world will not go backwards on technology. So you review those 7 goals left. In this new month that I'm in, are those 7 goals still relevant? If maybe some of them are relevant, some are not, may not be relevant. And one of your callers who called in made a very key point. He mentioned prioritization. So now these 7 goals that I have, which ones are of a high priority? Which ones are no longer of a high priority? Which ones are not important? But the last thing you want to do is to just keep adding resolutions just because you feel that they are important. I mentioned earlier that your feelings are normally the enemy of a resolution. Just look at your current problem. So look at what companies do. You have board of directors or board of governors meeting, management meeting every month, every quarter, semi-annually. Why are they having so many meetings? Why do management keep meeting? Because they need to keep steering. A company is like a ship. You need to keep steering it. You need to adjust the rail. You need to adjust the sails. You need to turn the steering left. You need to turn it right. At the end of the day, you want to get to a destination. So you have your 10 resolutions. You've done 3. These 7 left. Are they taking you to your destination? Have the circumstances changed? Do you need to change some of them? Do you need to discard some of them? Do you need to update some of them? If you give yourself review points. It can be monthly. You can make it monthly. You can have a monthly review. You can have a quarterly review. You can have a semi-annual review. But do it for yourself. Treat yourself like a company, because every company wants to make profit. And in your life, you also want to be profitable in your resolution, so that you are trying to break an addiction or stop something wrong or to do something new. At the end of the day, you are also valuable. So handle yourself as such, which means that be reviewing and know when to stop, what to adjust. But it's not as simple as you've done 3, there is 7, let me go on and do all the 7. If they are no longer relevant, you will just be wasting your time and resources.
Pastor George Fad Awembila, I want to thank you on behalf of my listeners and our viewers. I think that you've heard some of the feedback yourself. People have thoroughly enjoyed you on our WhatsApp concern, also through the cause. I want to say thank you so much for spending time with us this morning, and we wish you a very happy new year. We'll be coming back for more financial active, because I know that I have more. and then the other man some small tips you've given us. So we'll be coming back to you more for some of these insights and conversations. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, Eugene, and Happy New Year once again to all your listeners. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Yeah, so we've been speaking to Pastor George Arembela Fad Arembela. He's a project management consultant. He specializes in helping businesses transform to become more effective and efficient. And he's worked in various international organizations across the West African coast, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Gambia, and in East Africa, in Kenya. And he's also a pastor, City Gate Chapel Sanctuary Branch in Accra. So for those who just joined us, we've been talking about resolutions. Let me just give you the 3 summary points. It says that for you to achieve your resolution and for you to even come up with it and achieve it, you need to, 1, define the problem. Now, when you've done it, you need to create a system of accountability, give timelines to it. Then he also says that whilst you go along, you must have short to medium to long term approach to it, and you must not feel bad to re-strategize. If it's a car you want to buy and maybe it was a bigger car, you shouldn't feel bad and say that, oh, let me reduce the 3.5 I wanted to buy and come to 1.8. He says that he that had, that is a principle that Christians believe in. He believes that so far as you have a car now, there's a high propensity that you have another car. So just relax, and it's not a problem to re-strategize. We'll be going to Joy shortly. They'll be having a conversation on the energy sector, which is very important. You know how the power has been fluctuating, going on and off throughout the year, even during the Christmas festivities. So they'll be having a conversation with Ben Boache, who is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, to look at how the energy sector will pan out. And I think that is a good conversation for businesses, for individuals, how to plan your life going into the 2024 year, or in 2024 already in the year. So again, Happy New Year to everyone. And before we go to Joy, let's listen to some of these music.
Yeah. It's off for the money about come my way. Go.
Obi Antone Coalition. Obi Antone Coalition. Yeah, be Obi Antone Coalition.
What else?
Code. Obi Antone Coalition. Obi Antone Coalition. Obi Antone Coalition. Code.
Yeah. Memma woni pe bi embu abonfia. Ahopo pro mo yanyina bu huntia. Oye wo time for jano manivia. Yambu amu amunsi na bumpia.
Se upe mo anyo menyina edi. Nana nyameni ya wakano ne bebe mo. Se uma usa swabi ponyine tutu. So my party don't lose God, can't walk home out everybody singing hallelujah. Hallelujah. Everybody singing hallelujah. Hallelujah. Make me sing, oh. Oh, yeah. I say, happy sing, oh. Oh, yeah.
Namufisa meshiase. Me koya masamba. Che. Ahochire kakra me fe munti ne wo mo se ma wai mini dama. Woni na ewu no. Namufisa me yesanseni. Hwe. Uhumi ana wo ye ma hyew afede weni bo me so pe na bo se hwan poni. Na ne nyame ne nsa no. Afede wo humi tutu. Mana mo se me ye jonki ne sabusu bu kebi. Shame on you too. Afede me hu se me makobole yonki. Hwe no. Monkey. If I check, I just say you the hungry. Why you yank? I would have so sharp bosky. Me woo ya the nana metiase. When they mean peg will be an inviase. Man, I made a bench so I flower will be for handkerchief from the Pamania. What else?
Nana Yameni, I can't own a bebe mo. Where woman was a swabby ponyina tutu. So my party don't lose God, can't walk home out everybody singing hallelujah. Hallelujah. Everybody singing hallelujah. Hallelujah. Make me sing, oh. Oh, yeah. I say, happy sing, oh. Oh, yeah.
My win chimney 10 years, me wank way back. My floppy, this be my payback. My enemies if for day God, men care so I don't want to disobey God. No, my try some of them to prison. Wabra money particular reason. Mujwe me home, me need to go for your meeting. Fatu wasum, I don't wanna be repeating. Yamina bomb home by Timunya Foko, money no be problem. I don't need me motto to any shame when I'm many, let me shot to remember ninja watching I don't know.
When I was boss run assassin, Munya Mentina Yafra Adonai. In your Mawaya Mammy, me Busha for so many baby, I won't lie. When I was boss run assassin, Munya Mentina Yafra Adonai. In your Mawaya Mammy, me Busha for Nina. Is she ran away from me, man? The boom is say body. You only am in front of us today. Papa body. Why am I got you? Me that's your day. Baba God, Baba, you be too much, Baba God.
So the Super Morning Show team have started that all-important conversation about how the energy sector will be and the predictions of some experts and in the sector and predicting how we need to plan our life. So let's join that conversation now.
Of course, it is clear from literature that when you aid economic disruptions, you suddenly just can't bottom up or just jump start the economy suddenly. It's going to take a while. And the cost of correcting that economic disruptions could be very huge. And I'm looking at it from this perspective so that we are a bit moderate and mindful how we celebrate the recovery we are seeing. Because it's coming at a great price. What is the price? Since 1992, just a little bit of history, we had used just one medium to correct imbalances in our economy. It has usually been fiscal consolidation. So if you check from 1996, soon after every election, or when we go through this commodity crisis and the rest of them, the headline you will see associated with our budget has been fiscal consolidation. It's a correcting measure made up of revenue enhancement, expenditure restraint. The combination you use is up to the country. Yes. So fiscal consolidation, usually we have 4 ways of judging it. The pace, it can be front-loaded. It can be, the adjustment can be quick. You front-load it, and that's what we are doing now. Right. Okay. And then we're also looking at the mix. Is it just expenditure-based or revenue-based or both? We are doing both, and we've been doing both over the years. And then the next level is the financing. Now, Ghana we had gone through a lot and gotten to the stage where in 2022, fiscal adjustment alone was considered to be inadequate. That tells you the extent of the deterioration, for which reason the traditional medicine we had been taking was no longer adequate. Now, what is the next level of medicine? We call that one debt restructuring. In the time past, we had embraced debt restructuring, but it was largely external. In fact, even in the 70s, the unilateral debt repudiation announced by General Champong was also a form of debt restructuring. Our total external debt at that time was just around $94.4 million or so, in terms of external debt. We said we couldn't pay. All right. Then we went through HAPIC, the Multilateral Debt Relief Initiative. Now, if you put all these things together, there was no way we could restore debt sustainability by focusing on the traditional means. And therefore, we had to do domestic debt exchange. Now, and this is one of the impactful interventions we've had to impose on ourselves. So, and all of this put together with the taxes and the expenditure rationalization, represent the cost, the sacrifice we had to put on the table in order to have the recovery. Now, the interesting thing is that this adjustment cost hadn't been shared equitably. Okay, and in the past 25 years, you will see that anytime we are going through these adjustments, we offload them. Of course, we can preach burden sharing and practice burden transfer. And we've been transferring all of that to households and then the private sector. So you can see taxes, and then the debt restructuring, largely households and private sector. Now we are also restructuring the external one. So the recovery we are seeing is at a great cost.
Who do you think is going to bear the biggest brunt of this cost in 2024?
It's going to be the same households and the private sector. Ghana is not at the stage where we will actually practice private sector-led economic transformation and inclusive productivity growth. We are not there yet. We've been talking about the private sector as the engine of growth, but it doesn't feature prominently in implementation of policies and programs that actually put the interest of the private sector ahead of the public sector. And our resolve over the years is how do we make the public sector comfortable? To do so is at the expense of households and private sector. And that public sector that is collecting so much from household and private sector, if that public sector had been efficient in the delivery of public services, the net benefit will be positive. So in some European countries, they pay higher taxes.
Yeah.
But there's quality public service delivery. And therefore, if you are paying more taxes, you are seeing the roads. If you are paying all kinds of levies, you are seeing the infrastructure. You are seeing how efficient the government is. But we don't have that here. We have a public sector that is largely corrupt and inefficient. And you don't need a prophet to tell you that an inefficient public sector represent cost to the private sector as it interacts with the public sector. You need an efficient, cost-efficient, lean approach that enables the private sector to have breathing space. Because if the public sector is corrupt, who is paying? It's the private sector. And all of that contributes to the high productive cost base of doing business. There is no way, if we continue like this, we will be able to ensure economic transformation and inclusive productivity growth. No, we will be unique to expect that outcome by doing the kind of things that we've been doing. So yeah, it's been quite, and we are not out of it. I mean, and let me put that so that every Ghanaian, we have to be moderate with our expectations in terms of how growth is going to turn out and how it's going to benefit Ghanaian. I mean, you can have growth at different level. The economy can recover at different level, right? But before it will benefit the ordinary Ghanaian, we are looking at maintaining macroeconomic stability for not less than 15 years. We say in economics, low inflation